So let's go back to your process and your journey. Tell us about your nomination process and then now the whole actually going around knocking and asking for votes. Because one of the things that came up during Zinduka season 1 when we were talking to many young people about their involvement in politics was that, first of all, mnachujwa, nomination process, because in most cases you'd have to pay to get the nomination certificate because of the corruption amongst parties and all. And then they say that it's almost like there's a hierarchy. Like let's say if there's an older UDA party or member that was also competing for your position, they would be considered before they consider the young person. So how did you make it? And then we'll come to your campaign experience. How did you go through nomination?
Well, thank you. I would say that first, you've mentioned something about the party, some corruption and all that, some preference of some candidates and all. On that, I would first say my party, I would give it a thumbs up. In terms of the nominations, I think even nationally, everyone could admit that UDA did one of the best nominations that we've ever experienced as a country, and that is why you found that we have new faces all over the country, especially those who came with UDA. You could see people like Toto, who is now
she's actually quite inspirational. I'm hoping to get her on the show.
So you find that that tells you that to a great extent there was probably transparency, because if it were a question of money and all, there would have been people who could have, presented a better deal. So as far as the party is of concern, I would say my party did well, and that was inspirational. Secondly, I think the best thing and how I was also able to do that is the people. Connect with the people.
So you have to be popular. Like for you to, so it makes it difficult for you not to be chosen when you're popular.
I wouldn't say popular because I wasn't popular.
You were not popular?
Interact with the people. Like before that, I wouldn't say that I was popular. Of course, if you are popular, that is a plus for you. But what I'm trying to say is, even for that person who is not popular, still go to the people, interact with them, sell them your ideas, tell them why you think you're the best, and those people will stand with you. Actually, the biggest of evidence is that actually the people decided, and also that the party was to some extent very transparent, is the fact that I was going against the person who was the incumbent by that time.
Really?
Yes, I was going against the incumbent, and we took the day, even though they were still in the power.
But you're a tough one. You were so determined from the beginning. So.
Yeah, jitole, jipe moyo. Actually, the funny thing is, and thanks to the people of Mbiiri, sometimes I sit and...
And the way you've done that, thanks to them, it's the cartoon politician.
Because hao watu waliamua tu kunichagua. It's not that I offered the very best of deals, but from their heart, they just made up their mind. Mimi nimefanya siasa, nilikuwa naenda na nduthi, pikipiki. Like, mi ni yule hustler. So nilikuwa naenda, msee mmoja wa nduthi akajitolea. Like alikuwa
to take you round?
Yeah, he was the one who was taking me around. Mi hata ukienda in my ward, watoto ukiwauliza that time of campaigns, if you ask them who is Bernard Ruiri, they will tell you tunamjua, anaendanga na pikipiki. That's how they would describe me. And we saw God, and also we saw the will of the people. Kama naenda na nduthi, naenda na pikipiki, all my opponents
wanaenda na V8.
Yes, all my opponents were driving and all. But still, even with all that, the people decided we are giving him.
So how was your campaign experience in terms of interaction with people? Like how were you able to do it practically? Because sometimes as young people, we have an idea of what campaigns is, but practically speaking, were you waking up like every day, you know where you're going? Did you have a support team? How were you running your campaigns on the ground?
Thank you so much. I would say it starts with your heart. Let your heart out. All right? Such that mi nikienda kwa watu, that's the happiest place ever for me. Hata sometimes tuko na meetings nini, I just miss my people. Enda huko pigana na piga story na watu, salimia watu, pea watu. That interaction, if it comes from your heart and you can make it come from your heart, I kid you not, it's going to be a wonderful experience throughout. I loved that, and that is the best part of politics for me. Practically speaking, I had a schedule that I had managed to make myself. So I would go to the ground for 6 days a week. That means I would take one day off, literally. literally. I just chill in the house. That day I would also maybe use it to take calls. You know, sometimes you're not able to get calls.
Even some of us tried to reach you, but you
Yeah,
were just saying, I'll call you back, I'll call you back.
Sometimes ni headache. So sometimes naona wiki ikifika there are people sijaweza kuongea na wao. So I take that one day niko indoors, sasa ni simu tu. Kuna msali nipigia labda a day ago sikuweza kumchukulia simu, sasa nampigia. I always do my level best na naomba Mungu aniwezeshe at least to get back. Niwapigie, niwaulize ulikuwa unatakaje, tunasaidiana. So I use that day to also plan the week ahead. That is practically
so you review your week and then you plan your week ahead.
Review.
Did you have a grounds team?
Yes.
Like people going around with you?
My team is
and
the
helping
best.
You?
Actually, it once got to a point whereby the opponents were like, wanakaa chini sasa wanaanalyze Ruiru's team. How many members?
How do we take
how
them?
do they
That's
operate?
politics, yeah.
And all that. So that one, they either take them or they set up a similar team, even in terms of numbers.
Yeah. How many competitors did you have?
We were 11. That means I had 10.
For that seat?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So my team did well, and the you know, I believe if you want to work with a person, and suppose I give you money to work with me, it means the best deal to get you off the hook is a little bit more money. But if I offer respect, I offer value, money won't get you off the hook. And so to my team, I couldn't pay them. I didn't even have the money.
That's true. Because many times we sell our souls. And that money, whether the one who's giving you money, for sure they don't care about you. And it's always momentary. It's almost like the Esau and Jacob thing.
And if you valued money, if a better deal comes and a person, maybe I gave you 10,000, a person offers 50, then that means that's the best deal. But my team, our tulijitolea. I gave them no money. Tulikuwa tunastave pamoja, tunaenda kwa kibandaski, watu kama tulikuwa like watu kama 20, ile tumekula sana ni 1,000 na kila mtu ameshiba. So ile kibandaski iko chini kabisa, tunaenda tunakula pamoja. But I think I offered them that respect. Actually, so my competitors actually approached them and they could offer them money, but instead of taking the money, they would come and call me and tell me that they are being offered this and that.
So how did you finance your campaigns? Like what was the most demanding cost, or what was your highest cost, and how did you finance it?
The challenge was, I think the highest would be logistics. We've got to move. Sasa sisi tulikuwa na like, we call nduthi, you know, piki kama kadhaa. So you've got to fuel them. And again, at the end of the day, hata kama sina pesa, lazima bado tutakula. At the end of the day, these people will have to
eat. That's 6 days a week for almost 6 months.
And remember, I'm the one who was going off. Maybe you know the team is we had formed a team that is sort of independent. When I'm not available, I can send this person, this other can go there. So I might be the one who is off, but there is
the team is still working.
Maybe not the entire, because some of them would also be off. So
your costs continue.
But there would be those who will be on the ground still going on. So fueling, meals, and all that was also an expenditure that we had to deal with.
So Bana, if you remember, you featured in the first pilot, but also in the Murang'a edition of Zinduka Season 1.
Sure.
And one of the things that came up was the young people saying that once politicians, they beg for votes, they come and convince you, sometimes they even chota for you, they shina you, or whatever it's called in other counties. But mukingia tu hivi nego, as in you've just decided that's it. You forget the young people, then you come back later after 5 years to ask for the same votes. And they feel used and wasted. How do we know you're different?
First, thanks for that question. That one is a question that I can answer in very deep details. This is a fear that is actually with the electorate, because we have experienced it. It's not that we are just imagining. I have lived to see it. People have lived to see it. And even as I was campaigning, actually the people presented this question, and we had a solid discussion with them about this specific question. Like for example, there was a challenge that personally, because others, youthful leaders have been elected, but immediately after being elected, they would actually either vanish or maybe go for. My specific challenge was further studies, like unaenda studies msana hepa kiasi, you know. And we had that candid discussion face to face. And I told them, and I have always told them, that all I can bank on is your trust. Because I can only promise you, and I'm sure you have been promised before. And for you to overcome that fear, it's only that we pray and you I pray that you have peace within your heart, that this person that we're electing this time is going nowhere. So, in a nutshell, now that they were able to elect me, even with those fears, but I was able to talk to them, I'm telling them, and I've been going around telling them that I know you've been requested.
So as Zinduka, because we feel like we contributed and helped, and at least we can hold you accountable.
Yeah.
So one of the things we will do is hold you accountable first to the promises that you made to your people, but also to being true as a young leader. Because what young people don't realize, and politicians in general, that when you get in there, but let me speak about young politicians. When you get in there, you're supposed to be like a role model for other young people. First of all, for them to learn how you got in the, you know, the ideas that you used and all that. But also for you to be faithful, because that's why sometimes even the electorate doesn't vote for young people, because they say, wanaenda huko wanaanza kumisbehave, or they just forget like the other politicians. So give young people a reason to vote for other young people the next time.
Yes, I actually see it as I'm now in a way, you've been given a chance to represent the young people.
Precisely.
How I present myself is exactly how the people will interpret the young people are.
Precisely.
And
so they will just generalize and say, unaona vijana, kiwapatia nafasi, they don't deliver.
They don't do that. They don't do. I can tell you, in a nutshell, sasa, what can you do to people who decided to elect a person mwenye alikuwa anaenda na pikipiki, mwenye hakuwa na kitu? What is the best way of rewarding those people than keeping the promises? So I've been going through the ward after election, and I've been telling them, I know you had fears by the time of election. Now I have come after the elections myself.
But this is
and
like
I
what,
am
2
here.
months? We want to see you a year in, 2 years in.
And I am here to tell you that the promises we made, we were not just making them because we were in the political season. We made them, and because we had made a choice that we will keep them. So to my people of Mbiiri, we will keep each and every promise. Because I believe that for an elected leader, you have 5 years to either keep your votes intact or scatter them. So these 5 years, I can assure you, by the end of I do actually want, after the end of 5 years, we do another interview and now discuss
we
the
won't
journey.
wait for 5 years. We'll hold you accountable.
Yeah, I'm saying all along, but I would still want the one at the end, nikwambie sasa, so that because I would also be peaceful. I'll be able to go back to my people in peace, to interact vizuri, nikijua, mnajua.
Hakuna kujificha ficha.
Yeah, hakuna kujificha.
So Bernard, one of the challenges again that came up during season 1 when people were campaigning, like I said, there was the issue of getting nominated for young people. They just couldn't get through that hurdle. But there was also just the issue of being elected. So how did you, as a young person, compete with the other, other 10 competitors who I'm sure some were much older than you, but as a young person, how did you distinguish yourself? And what lessons did you learn that you could share with young people that want to go into politics?
One, keep God first.
Yeah.
Pray. Prayers work. Also let your friends pray for you and pray for the journey. That is one. And that is intact. Like there is no two way about it. 2, our people are bright, good-hearted people who make solid decisions and independent decisions. So, talk to them. You bank on 2 people, 2 things, or rather, maybe let me call them 2 things: God and the people. With those, you'll be able to go through. Even if you're broken, the people have decided that they will support you, they still will. So, then one of the things that I can say that I did and that I know that also helped so much, when you go to the people, focus on telling them what you intend to do for them and how you intend to do it for them, solving their challenges, solving their problems. But
that's what all the politicians say.
What happens is, sometimes we go, because of competition, when the heat is a little bit too high, we go to the people and we focus on attacking our opponents. I can assure you, even if you go back to my ward and ask, my people know, and we made an agreement from the onset. And I asked them, do you want us to discuss other people and attack my opponents, or would you want us to focus? And they told me, Ruiri or Bernard, let's focus. And I can assure you, throughout my journey, I have never talked about an opponent. I always talked about myself and what I intend to do to the people. So I would call upon my fellow youths, when you're going out there, focus on what you're telling the people, and please tell them that which is realistic. Wambie juu, you know, through this, the person is speaking to amekuwa kwa hiyo ward yako ama whatever area that you're talking about. Amekuwa huko, ameona other politicians before you. So you will not come and try to, we might not be able to come and invent something that we might think that they won't know. Our electorate is sharp. They know what an MCA does, what they are supposed to do. They might not come with all the English and you know all those difficult terms, but from the back of their mind, they understand.